Hi, Harry.
Okay. Howdy, and welcome to LeeReads, where I talk about the books I've been reading and enjoying lately. Today's video is a relaxed reading vlog. I'm going to be reading a recent adult fantasy release, Empire of Exiles by Aaron M. Evans. A scribe, a mage, an archivist, and an investigator. 23 years ago, a duke with a grudge led a ruthless coup against his empire, killing thousands. He failed. The duke was executed, a terrifyingly powerful sorcerer was imprisoned, and an unwilling princess disappeared. The empire moved on. Now, Quill, an apprentice scribe, arrives in the capital city, believing he's on a simple errand for another pompous noble. Fetch ancient artifacts from the magical imperial archives. But these artifacts are the instruments of revolution, the banners under which the Duke led his coup. So far in the first chapter, we have met Quill and the archivist, and we've been introduced not only to a lot of world building, but we've been introduced to a magic system that is very intriguing so far. It's the hints that I've gotten make it sound like the mages can attune to different types of material, and this attunement to it waxes and wanes, so they start to draw those materials to them. This can be very dangerous, and so there's like a minder that helps the mages manage their attunement. And there's a bunch of mages working in the Imperial Archives where Quill has gone. I'm interested to see how that magic is built into the plot. I like both characters we've been introduced to so far. I feel like in this story there's going to be a lot going on internally with the characters as well as externally with the overall plot. But the author so far has been doling it out in little pieces that intrigue you but aren't info dumping. So far so good. We're on the right track, and I'll be reading this over the next few days and checking in periodically. Just a quick update. I was able to read a good bit last night. Unfortunately, I couldn't read any at lunch today like I had hoped. At this point, I'm still about the first 25% of the way, if that. So still relatively early in the story. We've met all four of the primary characters, and what I really like about it so far is that these characters are all in the same area, and it's immediately apparent how they relate and connect to each other. Start to see these same events, this same murder investigation basically, and the politics behind it and everything. You're getting the impressions and the background and the ideas of the four different characters from different walks of life. So I like the way it's giving you many perspectives into the events that are unfolding. Unlike with some epic fantasy stories that are multi-POV, where there are characters all over the place and you're not quite sure how they're going to connect, these have connected already, and it's helping me to stay invested in every single viewpoint. The situation is now starting to unspool, and we're getting into the main plot, and I'm still liking it so far. So I'll check back in tonight or tomorrow with my next little progress. Hello again. It is the next night. I finished the book just a little bit ago, and I really enjoyed this one. I think it's a very accessible epic fantasy story because even though there are 4 points of view characters, they all have different professions, and so they are approaching the story with these different backgrounds and expertise. And some of the characters have a complicated backstory that weaves its way into the current events as well. The plot overall feels pretty simple, but the way that this murder investigation starts pulling in some political intrigue and some really interesting magic made the book quite enjoyable. There's an aspect of the magical world building that makes the characters start to question everything. It makes the reader unable to trust everything that we're seeing. It kind of keeps you on your toes about it, so you can't necessarily predict where the story is going to wind up. For me, the main strength of this novel is the characters. They are very relatable. The story setting centers on this imperial archive in the capital city, where these specialized archivists take care of various relics from throughout the empire's history and well before that. These archivists have natural specific affinities to different materials like copper or ink or bone or iron, etc., etc. Almost like a drug. Like if they start getting too much of the thing that they have an affinity for, they can spiral and their magic goes a little bit haywire. So it's not, they can't necessarily use their affinities all of the time. And I just thought that was an interesting part of the background of this world building. Of our 4 main characters, 2 of them are archivists. One is a little bit older, she's middle-aged, and she's the one with this complicated past. But in her current life, she's kind of taking care of the other archivist mages and making sure that they don't spiral out of control. And everyone, they all kind of really look up to her. When this very young scribe, kind of the lawyer guild, witnesses this murder, he really comes to this person for guidance and support. Another one of the main characters is an archivist mage there who is working through her own issues with the material that she has an affinity for, while also trying to help the scribe and her archivist mentor with this investigation. And then the final main character is an imperial investigator who gets pulled in to the murder and then abruptly basically told to drop it because of the political implications of it. But of course he can't do that and he pursues it, and they all kind of get drawn into this mess together. There are interludes throughout the story where we take a dip back into the past when 20 years ago the uncle of the current empress tried to usurp the throne and failed. And that's when kind of all of this intrigue really started, and the current events of the story are dealing with the repercussions of what those characters did back then. Really recommend Empire of Exiles, especially if someone's looking for more accessible fantasy where you can really see how the main characters relate to each other and it keeps you really grounded to the story. There is a fully fleshed out world here, but it's not info dumped at you. You get it in bits and pieces. It deals with different cultures who have come together to form this empire, and there's this long-standing threat from the realm beyond the wall that protects the empire, a realm of changelings. It had a satisfying conclusion to it, but there is going to be a sequel to the story. Don't know when it's coming out, but this is book 1 of a series. And if you're a fan of fantasy maps, I've got a good one in here and on the cover. Thank you for hanging out with me as I read. I hope you enjoyed this casual reading vlog style. If you have read this one, let me know what you thought about it, or let me know if you think that you might pick it up now after watching this video. As always, thank you so much for watching, and please don't forget to support your local library. Thanks.